New Jersey might be known for its beaches, diners, and boardwalks, but behind the cheerful face of the Garden State lies a darker, ghostly side. Some locations are tied to tragic events, others to strange legends, and a few are simply too mysterious to explain. Whether you believe in ghosts or just love a good scare, these haunted spots in New Jersey will make you think twice before exploring alone. Number 1. The Pine Barrens in New Jersey feel different the moment you step under the tall pines. The land is wide and quiet. For more than 2 centuries, people here have told one core story: the Jersey Devil. Locals say the tale began in the 1700s with Mother Leeds, a mother who gave birth to her 13th child on a stormy night near Leeds Point. In the legend, the baby changed into a winged creature, screamed, and flew up the chimney into the dark woods. Since then, many say the devil still roams the pines. One famous sighting came from Joseph Bonaparte, the brother of Napoleon. Around 1820, while hunting near his estate in Bordentown, he reported seeing a strange, flying animal that frightened his horse and scared nearby farmers. His story spread fast and helped turn a local legend into a national mystery. Another wave of fear hit in January 1909. For a week, newspapers printed report after report: odd hoofprints in fresh snow, a trolley car attacked in Haddon Heights, and police firing at a creature that would not fall. Schools closed and hunters formed posses to search the pines. Even today, that one week is remembered as the time the devil shut down towns. There is also the legend of the Black Doctor, linked to James Still, a 19th century healer. People say his helpful spirit still walks the sand roads, guiding the lost and caring for the injured. Many locals treat this as a kind, protective presence in the woods. Number 2. The Devil's Tree in Bernards Township stands alone in a field, with dead branches that look like warning fingers. People say this old oak is cursed, and anyone who makes fun of it or tries to damage it will have bad luck on the way home. Cars stop working, strange breakdowns happen, and sometimes accidents occur. The tree's creepy reputation has lasted for decades, and locals still treat it with caution. Today, a fence surrounds it to protect it from damage, but the scary stories continue. One dark legend says a farmer once killed his family and then hanged himself from this tree. Whether that tale is fully true or not, it set the tone. A place marked by grief where the past refuses to rest. Some also connect the site to Ku Klux Klan activity in the area long ago, saying the tree's branches were used for terrible acts that left heavy energy behind. Even people who doubt hauntings agree the history is disturbing. Another strange story says the ground around the tree stays bare even after fresh snow, and a nearby heat rock, and sometimes the tree's trunk feels warm to the touch in any season. Some people whisper that the warmth comes from souls trapped there, or that the spot is a doorway to another world. Is the Devil's Tree really haunted? No one knows for sure. But with its dark history and curse stories, this lonely oak still holds a strong place in New Jersey's deepest fears. Number 3. The Seabrook Wilson House stands quietly on the shoreline of Sandy Hook Bay, a place layered with history and rumor that give it an eerie presence. Built originally in the 17th century and expanded over time, it earned the name Spy House during the Revolutionary War, when locals say its owner tricked British soldiers into drinking and spilling secrets, which were passed on to colonial forces. One of the most enduring stories is of a lady in white who drifts from room to room, often seen checking on an empty crib or straightening a quilt in the blue and white rooms upstairs. A bearded sea captain is often seen, either standing in the front entrance or walking through the halls. Some say it's a former sea captain who once lived there or sailed from nearby waters, now anchored forever in memory. A darker tale involves Captain Morgan, the notorious pirate. Legend says he killed a boy in the basement, hiding treasure there afterward. His angry ghost, and that of the frightened boy, are said to haunt the basement. There's also a touch of the mischievous and uncanny. One visitor recalls a porcelain doll next to a crib seeming to move on its own, causing unease and speculation that the house itself shifts when nobody is watching. Number 4. The Burlington County Prison in Mount Holly looks solid from the outside, but inside, the air feels restless. Built in 1811 and used until the 1960s, it saw hard lives, escapes, and several executions by hanging in the yard. Staff say the first ghost reports began in 1833, right after the execution of Joel Clough, who was buried on the grounds. Since then, people have heard moans and smelled cigarette smoke drifting from the dungeon, the old solitary cell. One story centers on Joel Clough himself. Guards and inmates in the 1800s reported strange noises after his hanging, and modern visitors still describe uneasy pressure and whispers around solitary. His case is well documented, which gives extra weight to the claims that something lingered after his burial. Renovation crews in the 1990s said they heard voices and screams in empty corridors, then found their tools missing, only to turn up later on different floors. Some left early and refused to work alone after dark. The third floor makes many visitors uneasy. Footsteps move overhead when the level is empty, and some tours describe doors that seem to click or tug on their own. Paranormal groups say they capture EVPs and odd spikes on meters there, which adds to the floor's harsh reputation. Investigators and staff talk about a tall male figure in uniform roaming the basement. People catch a full silhouette out of the corner of an eye, or see a dark shape step through a doorway and vanish. Is the prison truly haunted? No one can prove it. But the mix of executions, solitary confinement, a documented 1833 hanging make this museum one of New Jersey's most convincing hauntings. Number 5. Old Tennent Cemetery feels like a quiet time capsule where the past still lives on. The church next to it was used as a hospital during the Revolutionary War's Battle of Monmouth, where wounded soldiers were treated, and some died, in the pews, leaving bloodstains that can still be seen today under the old cushions. Visitors often say the place feels uneasy, as if the pain and suffering from that time have never fully gone away. One lingering story follows Captain Henry Fauntleroy, a 22-year-old soldier hit by a cannonball while resting on a gravestone and carried inside the church, where his leg was amputated and he ultimately died. Some say his ghost still wanders the nearby cemetery at night, calling out for fallen comrades or searching for peace. Another spooky story is about a young woman known as Cookie, who may have died on her way to a prom. Her picture is carved into her gravestone. People say that around the anniversary of her death, flowers mysteriously appear, and she's sometimes seen roaming the grounds in her prom dress. There are also weeping soldier legends. On warm nights, witnesses claim they've heard sobbing or seen a soldier ghost sit in the pew where blood remains. Some even report sudden gusts inside the church, doors slamming or cool breezes, when no one is nearby. Paranormal investigators around the cemetery report EVP sessions picking up unexplained voices, sudden scents like gingerbread wafting in the air with no source, and distinct knocks coming from inside the church after dark. Number 6. The Devil's Tower in Alpine is a small, lonely stone tower that looks out over a wealthy neighborhood, but its story feels heavy and strange. Built around 1910 by sugar baron Manuel Rianda. He gave this tower to his wife, Harriet Rianda, so she could have the views over the Hudson River and New York City skyline. Locals say that one evening, Harriet climbed the tower to enjoy the view, only to see her husband meeting another woman. Shocked and ashamed, she supposedly jumped from the tower to her death. Even though records show the wife's remains were later moved, locals say her sad spirit still appears at dusk, as a pale figure at the tower's small windows. This is one of the oldest stories that made the tower feel cursed. Another story that people whisper is the Circle the Tower. If you walk around the tower a set number of times, a ghostly presence will appear or misfortune will follow. The tower was reportedly the target of demolition efforts. The story goes that work crews tried to tear it down, but the attempts consistently failed. Some versions even claim that workers died during these efforts, fueling the tower's reputation as a haunted structure. Number 7. The Watcher House at 657 Boulevard, Westfield is less a classic ghost story and more a modern kind of haunting, one made of typed letters, fear, and a feeling that someone is always watching. In June 2014, Derek and Maria Broaddus bought the beautiful century-old house and, before they could settle in, received a plain envelope with a typewritten note signed only The Watcher. The message spoke as if the writer's family had watched the house for generations, referenced personal details about the Broaddus children, and named their children as Young Blood in the letters. That first letter read like a threat and set the tone for years of dread. Neighbors and visitors added stories that fed the haunted feeling. Several accounts describe a couple who would sit in lawn chairs with their backs to the street, facing the Broaddus house for long stretches, an image that made the family feel watched even in daylight. The sense that strangers were literally observing the home heightened the panic. Investigators uncovered traces of DNA on an envelope that proved to be female, but county canvases and DNA comparisons never found a match. The case stayed unsolved, the letters stopped, and the Broadduses ultimately sold the house at a loss in 2019, the practical cost of a modern haunting. The story has become part local legend, part true crime mystery, and part ghost tale. It even inspired a Netflix show. It shows how a house can feel haunted just by words, by someone watching. Number 8. Lambertville High School sat on a hill overlooking the town like a silent guardian, or more accurately, a quietly terrifying relic. Built in 1854, later expanded in 1926, and finally closed around 1959 to 60, the old school endured decades of use before falling into decay and fire, eventually being demolished in 2012. Its abandoned halls, dark stairwells, and crumbling classrooms became the perfect stage for ghostly whispers and urban legend to take hold. One of the most chilling legends is that of Buckeye Billy, a football player from rival New Hope who died during a Thanksgiving Turkey Bowl game around 1935. He was said to have broken his neck. Now, legend says, if you stand in the old stairwell and say, "I challenge Billy to a game of football," a phantom ball flies at you or worse, you meet the same fate. Beyond that, witnesses also describe seeing fiery red eyes floating on the football field at night and hearing a disembodied voice urging them to run, adding to the school's creepy reputation. Inside the building, chalkboards on the second floor once had creepy drawings, giving the place a dark, haunted feeling. These drawings have since disappeared, but their echo lingers in local memory. Another layer of fear was captured in personal stories. One Reddit user recounts exploring the abandoned school and turning on their lighter in the stairwell, only for all lighters to fail simultaneously. Afterwards, once they left, the lighters all worked again. Number 9. Batsto Village lies deep in the Pine Barrens, in Warden State Forest, and once thrived as an iron-making and glass-making town from the 18th century until its decline in the 19th century. Today, it stands preserved and quiet. The village itself feels haunted, not by wild tales, but by the weight of history, the hush in empty rooms, and visitors' imaginations steeped in silence. One chilling story is of Jersey Devil sightings by Lake Batsto. People report strange tracks in the woods, distant screams, or glimpses of a winged creature darting across rooftops or in the forest at night. One ghostly claim is of a mysterious silhouette in the mansion, a vague figure caught in an old photo, shared in the book Weird New Jersey, that leaves people wondering if someone from long ago lingered just a moment too long. Batsto feels abandoned, and since the last resident left in 1989, it has the vibe of a place stuck between life and memory. It often appears on lists of New Jersey's creepiest ghost towns, where its history and loneliness create spooky stories and eerie rumors. Number 10. Clinton Road stretches about 10 miles through dark, dense woods and winding curves, where the air seems to carry whispers from another world. Over the years, locals have shared stories that blend tragedy, mystery, and the power of imagination, giving this road its haunted reputation. One of the most famous tales is the ghost boy under the bridge at Dead Man's Curve. Legend says if you toss a coin into the water, the boy's spirit will return it, or even push someone leaning too far over to protect them. Plenty of coins have been found in the stream as proof of believers. Another story is about a ghostly black pickup truck, or just its headlights, that suddenly appears behind drivers at night, follows them closely, and then disappears into the dark. There's also the tale of the ghost Camaro. A girl is said to have died in a blue Chevy Camaro crash in 1988, and now some drivers say they feel her speeding past them, even though no one is driving. Deep in the woods, or once near the ruins of Cross Castle, visitors have reported eerie chanting, strange symbols, and unsettling experiences like hallucinations or unexplained bruises after exploring the old foundation. The road also carries darker history. In 1983, a cyclist discovered a body wrapped in a garbage bag with ice crystals still in the veins, dumped in the woods. The killer, Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman, was later arrested and linked to many such crimes, making the legend of Clinton Road's haunted woods all the more chilling. Number 11. Stepping into the Physick Estate in Cape May takes you back to the late 1800s, and perhaps into a world where the past still lingers. This grand Victorian home, built in 1879 for Dr. Emlyn Physick Jr., his widowed mother, and his two maiden aunts, now serves as a museum, but many believe that its original residents never truly left. One story says Aunt Emily still lingers, especially in her favorite rooms, her presence described as warm and almost protective, a benign spirit watching over her home. In contrast, the bedroom of Dr. Physick's mother, Mrs. Ralston, on the second floor is considered the most unsettling spot of all. Guests often sense heavy, oppressive energy there, lingering long after stepping outside. Then there are the ghost dogs. Dr. Physick adored his dogs and kept many on the estate, though Mrs. Ralston forbade them from entering the house. Still, guides and psychics report hearing barking, paw steps, and even glimpsing canine shapes romping through rooms where dogs never were allowed. A particularly vivid tale comes from medium Craig McManus, who recalls hearing a vintage Victrola playing upstairs. Yet there was no player, and no living person near it in the carriage house nearby. Staff have felt a presence, possibly that of a long-died servant or driver, making noises or being sensed in areas now used as offices. Number 12. Cape May isn't just America's oldest seaside resort. It's a place where echoes of the past feel especially close. Settled centuries ago and known for its graceful Victorian architecture and quiet beaches, the town's long history gives rise to stories that feel alive. Locals and visitors alike say that something beyond history lingers in the air, and in the walls of its quaint inns, old hotels, and quiet landmarks. This sense of lingering memory is what makes Cape May feel haunted. One of the most touching stories comes from the Washington Inn, where staff speak warmly of a ghostly girl named Elizabeth. She appears in photographs or moves objects, especially around children, and even calls staff by name when they're alone. Often, earrings left on nightstands vanish overnight, only to return before checkout. The Cape May Lighthouse holds its own spectral tale. Visitors climbing its stairs sometimes glimpse a woman in white holding a lantern and a child, perhaps guiding souls or searching for safety in the dark tower.